All right, what is up, everybody? We are back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, we have episode 16 of season 3 of The Look-In, a series I do at the end of each team season, where I go back, recap the team season, see what the future holds, and look into what this team is doing. Today's episode is on the Miami Heat. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I really appreciate it. Really upset a lot. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, getting closer and closer as the days go on. So all support around the channel, very much appreciated. Links to my Twitter and all that stuff down in the description below. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So the Miami Heat officially have been eliminated from the playoffs. They were swept by the Cleveland Cavaliers yesterday, losing by 55 points in the elimination game. Just a really utter disaster way to end the season. And for Miami Heat, this is a wild season. You know, usually he have crazy seasons, but usually it's, get to the playoffs as a low seed and all of a sudden make it farther than they should be. This year was a very different year for Miami, where there's a lot of drama. There's a lot of other things going on, with the whole Jimmy Butler fiasco, the Jimmy Butler trade situation, where you saw that era come to an end. Bam Adebayo didn't have the greatest of years. Terry Rozier lost his spot in the rotation. The C team went on big losing streak. They went on a 10-game losing streak near the end of the season. They finished with 37 wins this year. Miami have not lost 37 games since 2015, the year after the Big Three deformed. So it was a bad year for Miami. It was a bad year. You did see some good things, I guess you got in it. Like Tyler Hero had a career year, was an all-star this season. You saw Kel'el Ware, your rookie, looks like he has some promise and potential. Davion Mitchell, brought in, and Davion Mitchell looks like he's gonna fit kind of the Heat culture a little bit there. Besides that, there's not really much good to hold on to with this Miami Heat team right now. This is a team that was in the NBA Finals 2 years ago as an 8 seed, and since then they have not really had any success at all. You know, and after back-to-back first-round exits, Jimmy Butler, your franchise guy who led you to those 2 finals appearances you have in the last 5 years, gone. And now this is a very weird, weird situation going on in Miami, where they're in this weird spot where they're not. This is not a bad roster overall. This is not a horrible roster, but this is not a roster that is going to compete for really anything serious in the league. This is not a team that's going to be competing for a championship, a conference finals appearance, a 50-win season. Like, this is not the roster for that. They have good players on their team, but this team as collective is not, built for anything super successful, which is what the Miami Heat want. Miami Heat they're in the finals 2 years ago. They're trying to make it and win championships and win games and get far in the playoffs and stuff. And this team just doesn't really have that right now with this roster. You also consider going in free. This is kind of what the team's going to be like. You have a lot of money tied into a lot of these guys. You have a couple extension. Tyler Hero's up for an extension. Andrew Wiggins up for an extension. Davion Mitchell, you're probably gonna have to pay him because he's gonna be a restricted free agent. Like, you got money still kind of tied into this team a little bit. They're gonna have a first round pick this year from the Warriors, which is probably gonna be around the 20s. But so you get another decent player, but there's not really much great going on with Miami Heat. Again, they have good players, but this is not a roster combined that looks like they're going to make it as far as they want to go. So now it's like, what's the direction? Where are we going from here? What's the next step after getting swept and embarrassing one of the most lopsided, series in NBA history, we just lost. And what do we do next? Do we go all in? Is that an option? Kevin Durant, we know, is on the market. There's been a little rumor of Kevin Durant in Miami. Do we put all our chips in the middle of the table and say, we're going to go for another superstar, and we're going to try this one more time, with another aging superstar, and try to see if that can really put us in a different position in the Eastern Conference? Or are we going to take a step back? Maybe taking a step back from contending could be a move for Miami. I'm not saying a full-on complete tear down and rebuild yet, but I'm saying maybe a step back where, we let our younger guys take more control. Nikola Jovic, Davion Mitchell, Kel'el Ware, Jaime Jaquez gets back into the lineup. Pele Larson, we dropped another first-round pick this year. And we try to get our younger guys more, involved in this team and maybe see what they can do. They have a decent amount of young talent. They don't have anything crazy. They don't have a future superstar lying in this, in this roster. But they have a couple of decent young players then maybe they want to try out more next year, and maybe next year is more of a year where we say, you know what, we're gonna step back from contending. We're gonna try to build up some of these young guys. Maybe we trade, try to find another home for Andrew Wiggins, who's gonna be on the last year of his deal. Well, he also has a player option he's probably gonna take. Try to find a home for Terry Rozier, Duncan Robinson, let all these guys go. Try to get these younger guys in here and put that around Tyler Hero and Bam, and see what happens then. Like, that's probably the two options you go for. You either go chips all on the table and go try to get a superstar, maybe, because again, the Heat have tried to get superstars in the past few years, and that has never really come to fruition with Damian Lillard, Bradley Beal missing out on all those guys. Or do we just take a step back and say, hey, you know what? We lost out on Jimmy Butler. We tried to makeshift this team at the second half of the year. It didn't work. We're not in a great position right now. The Eastern Conference is kind of tough. Let's just take a step back. We have a young Tyler Hero. We have some young players on this team. Let's step it back a little bit. Maybe try to develop some of these young guys and see what happens from there. I know that's probably not the smoothest of transitions and crazy. It won't give you a lot of success. And this Miami Heat team obviously wants success. They're just in the final. All these guys, a lot of these guys were just in the finals 2 years ago. You can't. It's so tough to tell a team that was just in the finals to say, "Hey, we're gonna take a step back." It's very tough to tell that to a team. But maybe that might be how we have to do, because I don't know if you keep this band together for another year. I don't know how much better you're doing. If you have maybe a full off season of Andrew Wiggins, and maybe after a full year for Khalil Ware and a full year of Davion Mitchell, maybe you could be a little bit better. They can get to 40 wins, but this, in terms of playoff success and getting far in the playoffs, this team is not bringing you anywhere. So now it's like, what do we do next? Or maybe are there some more changes coming to this team? Like, I don't know if complete rebuild is out of the question entirely. I don't think it will happen because Tyler Hero just had his career year. You still have Bam Adebayo. Those two are like pivotal pieces to this team. But maybe it's something on the table. I mean, again, you just lost your elimination game by 55 points. It just got swept out of the playoffs. Anything should be on the table right now. Whether that's getting another star, taking a step back, trading everybody, and restarting this from the bottom up again. Like, anything should be on the table now after that loss. You know, it was embarrassing, and this Miami team is just not really good right now. The vibes are not great. You just lost Jimmy Butler, one of the most dramatic trade sagas we've seen in a long time. Like, it's bad. It's not great right now. It is not great right now in Miami. And now, yeah, the real question for me, I want to be looking at is what direction do they take? What is Pat Riley thinking now in his head? Where does he still want to compete? I mean, I assume they still want to compete, but what options are out there to keep competing unless you trade for a superstar? Even then, trading for a superstar, it's not like you have an insane amount of assets. You have some young players, but Jaime Jaquez doesn't have the same value as probably would have had last year. Nikola Jovic doesn't really have a whole lot of value, I feel like, for other teams. Davion Mitchell, like Khalil Ware, maybe is your best valuable asset in terms of a player. But then again, you drafted Khalil Ware because you want to put Khalil Ware around Bam Adebayo. But then again, if you're trying to win a championship, who cares about the young players? We're going out there to try to win. And it's not like they have any crazy pick draft capital either. So if you're going to get a star, you really just got to bank on that star saying, you know what, I want to go to Miami really bad. Send me to Miami. Kind of like a Bradley Beal to the Suns situation where the Wizards were kind of tied, where they kind of had to send Bradley Beal to Phoenix. If they get another situation where Kevin Durant or somebody's like, you know what, send me to Miami. I'm only going to Miami. Like, send me over there, and you just have to take like an Andrew Wiggins, Jaime Jaquez, Jovic, and a pick or two package. Then all right. But in terms of, again, like having a valuable assets compared to what other teams have, like the Rockets, the Spurs, even Minnesota, like he don't have an insane, trade package for a superstar. Unless again, the Miami spotlight and Eric Spoelstra, Pat Riley are really going to convince a superstar to be like, you know what, I want to go there. I want to go to Miami. Like, that's really the only thing they got going for them is that they're Miami. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough time for Miami right now. It's a tough time for the Heat. They fell into this kind of trap of Jimmy Butler and them being an 8 seed, getting carried to the finals all the time, and thought that that success could be you know sustainable, and it just isn't. It was a really good run. It was a really good year, and now we kind of have to be real with ourselves and figure out what the next step and what the direction is for this Miami team. I don't know what it is yet. Again, it's probably either one or two options: either go get a superstar, or fall back and hope the young guys develop to something. And even then, that's maybe not the craziest option because again, you don't have the craziest crop of young talent, but that may be the only other solution, unless you want to run this back. Go rewatch this playoff series, and think: do we want to run this back? Do we want this back again next year? I don't think we do. So some change are gonna have to come to Miami, and I don't know what they're gonna be right now, but we just gotta wait and see because that was pathetic. That lost Miami. That to Cleveland. That was just pathetic, man. It's not a great time for the Heat right now. And alright, yeah, that's gonna be it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn on notifications. Do also like that. I'd really appreciate it a whole lot. There's a playlist up here. You can go back, check out the other episodes of the Look In series. Once again, we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. So support our channel, we very much appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.